All right, guys, let's look at this one. You have been asked to write the equation of a line in standard form. That is terrible news. But remember, it only has to do with how we end the problem. It has nothing to do with how we start the problem. All right? Our line has to pass through this point, and it has to have that slope. So I told you yesterday, who is your go-to get-started formula for these problems? Y equals mx plus b. And it's a great formula because I know you all know it. So when you're writing the equation of a line, if this is your get started formula, then you're going to hope the problem told you slope, m, and you're going to hope that the problem told you b, your y-intercept. Because if it did, the equation basically writes itself. Well, guys, let's look at this one. It definitely told us the who. It definitely told us the slope. We know m. We know that m is 2/5. But then it told us that it passes through that point. And I'm not going to lie, I was trying to trick you with that point. You know that if you are an intercept, then what does one of your coordinates have to be? 0. So a lot of students get so hung up on the fact that, oh, look, one of the coordinates is 0. It's my y-intercept. I know my y-intercept is 4. But guys, truthfully, if it's a y-intercept, then what does the x-coordinate have to be? 0. So this did not have an x-coordinate of 0. So it's an intercept, but it's not a y-intercept. It's actually the what intercept? It's the x-intercept. And guys, the x-intercept is not our b. So as far as we're concerned, that's a completely random point. So we're going to treat it just like one of the points yesterday. So we know the slope, but we don't know the y-intercept. So guys, plug the slope right in for m and get started. So now we look like this. So now it's like, man, if I just knew that b value, I'd be done. But that's not b. That's just a random point. So what we're going to do is the same thing as yesterday. We're going to borrow that as an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate that we can plug in and then solve for b. So everybody needs to borrow that point and solve for b. All right, so let's plug it in. So I'm plugging 0 in for y, 2/5 times, not x, I'm plugging the 4 as my x-coordinate in, and then plus b. All right, well, guys, let's clean this up. That gets us 0 equals, what's 2 times 4 on top? 8 over, what's 5 times 1 on bottom? 5, and then plus the b. What's the only thing you got to do with 8/5 to move it away from b? Wait, it's positive, so we'll subtract it. And then it's nice and easy because normally you're like, oh man, I got to add and subtract fractions. Actually, no, you don't this time. What's 0 minus 8/5? Negative 8/5. So now you do know the b. You do know the y-intercept. And it's ugly. It's not a pretty number, that's for sure. But who cares because we're not graphing. So who cares if the y-intercept is ugly? So all you have to do is put that b in for that b right there, and you'll have written your equation. So now, that is the equation of this line. The big problem is, what form did they ask you to end it? Ugh, so we're not even done. So now we have to get x and y on one side. So how can I move these x's over here? Subtract them right there, positive, so we'll subtract them. And then we end up with negative 2 over 5 times x plus the y that was already there, and then it equals the negative 8/5 that we left. So now, to be in true standard form, 2 things have to happen. The number in front of x is not allowed to be negative. Is it negative right now? So we're going to have to fix that. Then, you're not allowed to have fractions either. So we're going to have to get rid of the fractions. So guys, look at your bottoms. Who's the only bottoms you see right now? 5 and 5. So what's the least common multiple of a 5 and a 5? A 5. So 5's our magic number. But guys, make it negative 5. And then if I use negative 5, it'll change all of their signs, and this number won't be negative anymore. So we're going to times all of our tops by negative 5. Okay, so negative 5 times negative 2 is actually 10. And then what's 10 divided by 5? 2x, so it's not negative anymore. Negative 5 times y, beautiful, equals negative 5 times negative 8 is 40, 40 divided by 5 is 8. And then there is the equation of your line in in standard form. Okay? All right. So guys, we're still going to write the equation of a line today, except today we're going to give you different information. So all these problems depend on, well, what information did they give? So today we're going to see like a little bit of a different variation. All right, let me give you your notes. But at some point, it should still feel extremely similar to what we've been doing. Okay. All right, so here we go. We're still writing the equation of a line. So guys, tell me right now, who's your go-to get started formula again? Y equals mx plus b. Love it, because you know it. All right, so guys, since that is our go-to get started formula, then if we know the slope and we know the y-intercept, the equation basically writes itself. So those are the best two pieces of information to be told about a line. So when we do this, the best information they can give us are slope and y-intercept. Once we have those two pieces of information, there's no equation we can't write. All right, so let's look at example 1 today. Look what today's telling us. Write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. That is great news. That means we get to stop in y equals mx plus b form. Our line has to pass through these 2 points. Okay, guys, who's your go-to formula? Okay, so like I said, if that's our formula, then we hope for m and we hope for b. Did this problem tell us m, the slope? No. Did this problem tell you the b, the y-intercept? No. How would you know if either one of these was the y-intercept? Their x-coordinate would be who? This doesn't have a 0, and that doesn't have a 0. So that's not the y-intercept. These are 2 completely random points. So they have told us none of the good information. So we got to figure out a way how to start this. Guys, what are you capable of finding that is very important if you know 2 points? Slope. You're going to have to calculate the slope yourself. So we're going to have to find m by doing change in y over change in x. So that's what we need to do. We got to find the slope. Because as long as you know 2 points, you can find the slope. Go ahead, Chris.
How was that separated?
Let's just do 1 so you can see the gist. All right, so m will be. All right, change in y over change in x. I'm going to start with this y coordinate, 10. I'm going to find the change, so I'm going to subtract the next y coordinate, which is who? Negative 2. Okay, that's actually going to turn to plus. Slope always starts as subtraction. It might get turned into addition, though. All right, over. Now, in the same order, do the same thing with your x's. So I have to start here, take this x coordinate, 2, find the change, subtract. Who's the next x coordinate? 5. Okay, now we do it. Guys, what's 10 plus 2 on top? 12 over 2 minus 5? Oh, this is amazing. Guys, at the end of the day, slope is a fraction. So try to divide, try to reduce. What's 12 divided by negative 3? Which means our slope is a whole number. So I don't got to work with a fraction. I love when slope is a whole number. All right, so guys, that's really important. So plug them right in for m. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's get this equation started. Y equals negative 4 times x plus b. So again, it's kind of like, damn, if I just knew the b, I'd be done. But we don't. And we've already said that neither one of these points is the y-intercept because they don't have an x-coordinate of 0. So guys, you almost have too much information now. You only have to do what?
So it would be like what we do, you just choose one of the points.
Exactly, guys. All you need to know is 1 random point on your line. They've given you 2. So now, once you get here, to get the B, you have to pick one of those points, but not both. And guys, I'm telling you right now, I could pick this one, you could pick that one. We are going to end up with the exact same y-intercept. It doesn't matter which one you pick. but pick one. All right? And don't be like, oh, I'm going to pick his x coordinate and his y coordinate. No. You have to pick one point and forget the other one even existed. So borrow any point. Let's see. I'm going to borrow that one because both numbers are positive. That's literally my reasoning. All right, so I'm going to borrow 210. So plug 2 in for x and 10 in for y and solve for b. So 10 will equal -4 times 2 plus b. God, I love when slope is not a fraction. It moves so quickly. 10 will equal, that's going to get me -8 and then plus b. It's the only thing you have to do to get b. Add 8. And who does our y-intercept end up being? 18. So guys, we had slope. We already plugged them in. Now pop 18 in for that b, and you've written the equation of your lines. So now it's going to look like y equals -4x plus 18. So again, at some point, you have too much information. So you're just going to have to pick one of the points and forget the other one. Okay? And luckily, we get to leave it in that form, so we're good to go. Yeah. All right, so let's try it again. Let's do it again with another example so we get the hang of this. All right, this time, we have to write the equation of a line. Uh-oh, what form do they want? Damn it, standard form. All right, our line has to pass through these 2 points. All right, get me our formula. Who are we starting with? Stay with me. Y equals mx plus b. So again, we hope for m, we hope for b. They clearly did not tell us the slope. Now take a peek at these points. Is that a y-intercept? No, x is not 0. Is this a y-intercept? No, x is not 0. So damn, they didn't tell us anything. But we can at least find what on our own to get started. Slope. Everybody find slope. Now guys, here's the thing. If you don't find the right slope, do you have any hope of getting this problem correct? So you better be really careful with your slope. All right, change in y over change in x. I'm going to do -4, subtract -9, so it turns to addition, over, same order, 2, subtract 4. Let's compare our slopes. I got 5 over -2. It doesn't divide and it doesn't reduce. Did anybody else get 5 over -2? Maybe you got something a little bit different. Guys, I have major OCD. I cannot leave that as my fraction. I have to give the negative to the top number. I cannot work with a negative denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this as -5 over +2. It's not like you have to do that. I'm telling you though, don't work with a negative denominator. Always make the negative your numerator and the denominator your positive. All right, here we go. So let's plug that in for m. So now we have y equals -5 over +2x plus b. So again, it comes down to us finding that y-intercept. Brendan, are you okay? Come on, what? Hang with me. Did you get it? Oh, I like it. Very nice. All right, plus b. So guys, like I said, at this point, you have too much information. You don't need this much. You have 2 points, but you only need 1. So pick your favorite. Pick any point, plug it in for x and y, and solve for b. Does anybody have a preference as to which one we borrow? I like that one too, right? They got negatives, but he's got smaller numbers, so I'm going there too. I'm plugging 2, -4 in. -4 equals, oh guys, this is going to work out nice. All right, so -4 equals, look what happens here, guys. When you come over here and you multiply to start cleaning this up, what's -5 times 2 on top? -10 over, what's 2 times 1? Hold the phone, what's -10 divided by 2? It's a whole number. We still don't have to work with a fraction. Because I hope you realized that a 2 on bottom that you're dividing by and a 2 on top that you're multiplying by should cancel. And it just leaves you with -5 over 1. All right, and then we can get b really quick. Let's add that 5 away. I don't have to work with a fraction yet again. and I get positive 1 as my y-intercept, as my b. So now I can pop that 1 in right there for the b. And now my equation looks like this. Y equals -5/2 times x plus 1. Guys, we have big problems though. Am I allowed to end like that? No, I gotta get it in standard form. So how are you gonna get your x to move over here? Add it. If he's negative, let's add it to the other side. So then I end up with 5/2 times x plus the y that was already there equals the 1 we left. Okay, is the number in front of x negative? Great, one less thing we have to worry about. Is there a fraction still? Let's get rid of it. Guys, who's the only bottom?
2.
So 2 is our magic number. So multiply all your tops by 2, and then the fraction will go away. They will cancel. It'll leave you with 5x plus 2y equals 2. And there's the equation of your line. All right, you guys do the third one. Now, guys, don't miss the gift that they have given you in example 3. Look at the information, think about what you want to know about a line, and don't let them sneak something by you. Yes. Yes! Yes, now.
I still solve.
You didn't have to. Okay, but it still works, but you didn't have to go through it all. All right, so look at the information very closely, and don't miss the gift that they have given you. Nice. Did you see the gift, Steven?
Yeah.
You did? All right.
I hope it's right.
Oh, Steven, that's nice.
Let's go.
Let's go. So quiet without Darian. God.
You always have random thoughts with it.
Yes,
Is it?
I need those. I like those thoughts.
Are you recording?
I am, thank you. I had my note up and I was very nervous. I'm like, what am I going to do if he doesn't remind me? Did they tell you who the slope is? Yeah, isn't that what it is?
Oh my God. The B, whatever.
Yes. He is a gift, but he's B. I know. You had the right idea. What'd you get? What are you doing? Nice. Yeah, what was you doing? Nice. I would do that. If you do -1, subtract -6, it should turn to plus. Subtract -6. All right? You were right. I see you scribbled it. All right, guys, I see some good answers here. Okay. Just remember, we're always trying to do the least amount of work as possible. So like I said, they have given you a gift here, and I hope you didn't miss it. They have asked you to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, the good form, that passes through those 2 points. Guys, bells, whistles, sirens should be going off in your mind when you see one of these points. Who's a really good point? Look at it. Who's his x-coordinate? So what is that piece of information right there? It's the B. It is the y-intercept. Don't miss that. If they are going to gift you a B value that you're not going to have to plug in and solve for, oh my God, that is great news. So don't miss it. If the x-coordinate is 0, then that is your y-intercept. So your y-intercept, your B, is definitely -6. So guys, this is our go-to formula. Plug it in right now for B. So now we look like this. Okay. The only piece of information they didn't flat out tell us was what? The slope. So guys, you actually have options. You could pick a point, plug it in for x and y, and then solve for m. But I would not want to do that unless I absolutely had to. We can calculate the slope way too easily by finding change in y over change in x. So that's how I would find the slope. So let's find the slope. Change in y over change in x. So I'm going to do -6, subtract -1, so it turns to plus, over 0, subtract -5. So that turns to plus. And then you end up getting -5 over +5, which what does that divide to? -1. Awesome. So now you have your slope. You can plug that right in for m. And now it looks like this. Y equals -1 times x minus 6. But in reality, I'd much rather you just write y equals -x minus 6. But I wouldn't mark either one of them wrong. Okay? All right, so guys, that's what the majority of your homework is going to feel like. We're going to give you 2 points. You're most likely going to have to find slope, change in y over change in x, and then use one of the points. But don't miss it if one of the points they gave you was the y-intercept. All right, I figured since this would be kind of quick that I could sneak in the horizontal and vertical line. So guys, go to the back and watch how easy these ones are. I say easy. That's probably not a nice word. They're easy in the sense that, guys, you shouldn't have to do any work. These literally come from you reasoning it out, but you got to be able to reason it out. So if you guys remember, when we were graphing horizontal and vertical lines, I would always call them like the special kind of straight line, and their equations were special too. Their equations only had one variable in them. All right? So these equations only have one variable. So it's either going to be y equals some number, or it'll be x equals some number. But that's how basic their equations are. Okay, so let's start with a really, really straightforward one. This one says, write the equation of a horizontal line. So they're telling you it's a horizontal line. You don't even have to figure out which one it is. It's a horizontal line. And it has to pass through that point. Okay, so guys, this might help. You have a coordinate plane. You have a horizontal line that is passing through 3, -7. Right 3, down 7. Great. It's a horizontal line. On horizontal and vertical lines, there's always a coordinate that never changes. Guys, on this line, think about every single dot that is on this line. Which one of their coordinates is always the same? The -7, right? The y coordinate. This line never goes up, it never goes down. So the y coordinate is just always stuck at -7. But the x is changing like crazy. This is where x is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 1, 0, -1, and so on. The y coordinate is always the same though. So this is the line where the y coordinate is always equal to -7. So all you need this point is you need to get the coordinate that is never changing from it. And you just call it that line, y equals -7. All right, look at the next one. Write the equation of a vertical line that passes through the point -4, -5. So guys, I think the picture helps. You got a coordinate plane, you have a vertical line passing through -4, -5. So now think of all the points that land on that line. Which coordinate never changed? The what? The -4. And which coordinate was that? The x coordinate always stayed the same. But the y coordinate, man, changed like crazy. This is -4, -5, -4, -4, -4, -3, -4, -2. The y coordinate changed all the time. So since the x coordinate always stayed the same, then this is going to be the line where the x coordinate always equaled who? Done. So again, there's no work. We don't got to sit here and plug numbers in and do this. You just have to be able to figure out on a horizontal and vertical line which coordinate didn't change. All right? All right, look at number 6. Write the equation of a line whose slope is 0. And it passes through the point 9, -1. Well, guys, we already know. If you're a vertical line, an up and down line, who's your slope? Undefined. So that means that if your slope is 0, what kind of line were you? Horizontal. So now you have to remember, and we wrote it on the first day of notes, horizontal lines have a slope of 0. They're flat. They are 0. They have 0 rise. So this is a horizontal line. So they are telling you that as a clue that it is a horizontal line. So picture that. You have a horizontal line, and he's got to pass through the point, right 9, down -1. Horizontal line. Okay. Guys, you tell me right now, on that horizontal line, which coordinate never changed? The x coordinate or the y coordinate? Who never changed? X changed like crazy.
-1.
The y coordinate, the -1 never changed. Every single point on this line has a y coordinate. Guys, if you have to, start labeling some. This would be the point 8, -1, 7, -1, 6, -1, 5, -1, 4, -1, 10, -1, 11, -1, 12, -1. As a junior in high school, you should know who is the x coordinate and who is the y coordinate. This y coordinate never changed. So that means this is the line where y is constantly equal to who? -1. Now, you can cheat this. Horizontal lines, you can treat it like a y equals mx plus b. Because watch this. They told you the m was who?
0.
That's a pluggable number. We can plug 0 in. Y equals 0 times x. And then the b. Guys, the y-intercept. If this is the point 9, -1, and this is a horizontal line, what's the y-intercept at? What y value? -1. So then you put your -1 in, and then 0x's, guys, that's really not there, and it's the line y equals -1. So you can do a little bit of math for horizontal lines, but I don't think you should get in that habit. I think you should be able to predict which coordinate doesn't change, because you're going to have to do that for the vertical ones. All right, almost there. Look at example 7. Write the equation of a line whose slope is undefined. Guys, what kind of line had an undefined slope? A vertical. They're telling you this is a vertical line without having to say it. So we have a vertical line, and he has to pass through the point 2, -3. So picture it. Right 2, down 3, vertical line. Guys, on that line, start thinking about all the points and what you would label them as. Which coordinate never changed? X. And who is the x coordinate of that point? So then that means every single point has an x coordinate of 2. So that's the line, x equals 2. Okay? All right. Last example. Because they could disguise these like the problems we did at the beginning. They said, write the equation of a line that passes through these 2 points. So what did we always go find when we had problems like this? What did we have to find for ourselves? Guys, find slope right now. I know they're not the y-intercept. None of them has an x coordinate of 0, but we always found slope. So guys, find your slope and look who your slope comes out to be. What happens when you get a 0 on the bottom of a fraction? Can you divide by 0? What do we call that? Undefined. So the minute you know the slope is undefined, what kind of line is this? Who has an undefined slope? A vertical line. So you're doing another vertical line problem. So picture this. You got a point at -2, 6, and you got a point at -2, -1. Guys, they have the same x coordinate because it's a vertical line. And the x coordinate doesn't change on a vertical line. So since every single one of these have an x coordinate of -2, what's the equation of your line? X equals -2. Now, you could have avoided all of that if you had recognized, hey, they both have an x-coordinate of -2. I'm going to get 0 on the bottom because I'm going to be subtracting the same numbers. And then you should know that it's a vertical line. Otherwise, you got tilted motions of slope. All right, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I got that one in because those are supposed to be, like I said, easier lines to write, but it is a lot on your mind. You have to be able to reason that information out. Okay, so guys, you have a homework assignment for this tonight. Now, yesterday's homework is due tonight. When I made today's assignment, I must have been in a really good mood because I didn't make today's homework due until Monday night at 11:45. Because guys, if I'm being very honest, the amount of students who didn't do last Friday's homework is disgusting. It's a weekend, I get it. You still have homework, you gotta find time to get it done. The homeworks right now are killing some of your averages. So be careful. So I gave you until Monday night because God forbid you forget over the weekend. But I'm telling you right now, I'm assigning you homework Monday. So you're gonna let it build up. Don't do that. And then, like I said, I think we have one more thing on Monday, we'll review Tuesday, and we'll probably quiz Wednesday on writing these equations. And then guys, I think we have like 1 or 2 sections left. I would love to be able to test chapter 2 before Christmas break. So we have next week, and then we have 4 days until we leave for Christmas. So I'm kind of hoping to quiz next week, and then we'll test before we leave for Christmas. So just try and mark that on your calendars there, okay? All right.